What would happen if I told you that everything you believe about reality is an illusion? That the life you live, the opportunities that come to you, and even the obstacles you face are not accidents, but projections of something much deeper. For centuries, the guardians of esoteric knowledge have been persecuted, silenced, and eliminated. Why? Because they knew a secret too powerful. A secret that, if you discover it and apply it, will completely change the way you experience the world. This is no longer a video about motivation or positive thinking. It is a deep exploration of the metaphysical principles that govern the universe, revealed by mystics, alchemists, and wise men throughout history, but also confirmed by modern science. The mind controls everything. It is not just an inspiring phrase. It is the master key that opens the doors of true power. From Hermetic teachings to quantum physics, the message has been the same. The reality you experience is a reflection of your consciousness. Why do you think they burned books, persecuted the Gnostics, and transformed knowledge into dogma? Because a human being who dominates his mind is an impossible human being to control. And now the question is, are you ready to open your eyes? If you are watching this video, it is not a coincidence. Synchronicity has guided these words to you. Something inside you is awakening. Now, join me on this journey while we unearth the secrets they don't want you to know. But be careful. Once you know the truth, you will not be able to go back. To understand the true power of the mind, we must travel back in time, beyond what they have taught us in schools, beyond the superficial explanations that modern science presents to us. We need to go back to the roots of a wisdom that was carefully buried and hidden over the centuries. The history of the mind as the creator of reality begins with the ancient Hermetics. In the pyramids of Egypt, hidden in the shadows of the sacred chambers, the sages of the ancient school of Thoth understood something that modern civilization is barely beginning to glimpse. Everything is mind. The universe is mental. This was not just a metaphorical phrase, but a fundamental principle that defines the very structure of creation. According to the Hermetics, the universe is a vast field of mental energy in which each thought, each feeling shapes reality. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you think is just a manifestation of a primordial mental vibration. Long before modern physics began to suggest that matter is only condensed energy, alchemists already understood that the transformation of physical matter was, ultimately, a matter of internal transformation of consciousness. For Kelso, a wise alchemist of the 16th century, he said, "The outside world is nothing more than the reflection of the inner mind." This idea can be traced even further back to Plato's teachings, who in his work, The Republic, spoke of the ideas or forms that existed in an eternal mental plane. For Plato, physical reality was nothing more than a shadow of a superior mental reality. In the Gnostic scriptures, which were considered so dangerous by the authorities of the medieval church, it was said that human consciousness is not limited to flesh, but that it is the true creator of the world. The material world, according to the Gnostics, was just a projection of the divine mind, a shadow of a deeper cosmic order. But this knowledge was suppressed and distorted for centuries because the Church feared the power of a conscious humanity of its inherent divinity. Throughout the Middle Ages, the Rosicrucians and the Templars continued to keep these secrets in their sacred rituals and texts. The Rosicrucians, a mystical order whose origin is lost in the fog of the centuries, claimed that the power of the mind was so great that it could transcend matter itself. They knew that, in order to dominate the outer world, they first had to dominate the inner world. And so, their secret rituals not only focused on external knowledge, but on the internal perfection of consciousness. As we advanced in time, Figures like Giordano Bruno and René Descartes echoed these ideas, although in a more scientific way. Bruno, a Renaissance philosopher who was burned at the stake by his beliefs, proclaimed that the mind is a divine spark that has the ability to model the universe, a revolutionary thought that led him to condemnation. For his part, Descartes, despite his doubts about the material world, affirmed with his famous cogito ergo sum, I think, then I exist, that the mind is the basis of all reality. Descartes did not fully understand the transforming power of the mind, but his statement marked a milestone as it granted the mind absolute power over reality. The history of the concealment and suppression of this truth goes back to modern times, where quantum science has begun to give shape to the same conclusions as those mystical and philosophers of yesteryear. In the 20th century, the famous experience of the double slit revealed that the observation of subatomic particles altered their behavior. This confirms what the ancients knew. Reality is not fixed, but is in constant change, depending on the mind that observes it. So instead of being simple, passive spectators of a predetermined universe, we are the creators of what we experience. This is the secret that the powerful feared, the knowledge that they tried to destroy through the centuries. And although the inquisitive minds of history tried to bury this truth, modern science is finally beginning to discover what the ancients already knew. The universe is mental, and your mind has the ability to mold it. Now that we have traveled the path of the ancient sages, we have reached the key moment of our exploration, the essential truth that the universe is mental. What does this mean? And more importantly, how can we apply this knowledge in our lives to transform our reality? To begin with, we must understand that the mind is not just an organ in your head. It is not just a function of the brain. The mind, in the deepest context of this teaching, is a cosmic force that is present in everything that exists. The ancients knew that everything, from the smallest atom to the most distant stars, is impregnated with a mental vibration. This is what allowed them to affirm that the entire universe is a manifestation of a universal consciousness. Imagine that your mind is like a frequency or a vibration. Every thought, every emotion is an energy wave that radiates into the cosmos. Just like the radio waves that transmit invisible signals, thoughts and emotions also generate waves. But these are not limited only to being perceived by you. They affect the very fabric of reality. The philosopher and scientist Ernest Holmes explained this in a simple way. Thoughts are things that become physical events through a mental vibration. If this idea is shocking to you, it is because they have taught us to think that the things that occur in the material world are independent of us, that they are external, and in their majority, they are out of our control. But the key to this teaching is precisely the opposite. The physical world is nothing more than a manifestation of our collective mind. Everything you see, everything you experience, is the direct result of the collective thoughts of humanity and of your own thoughts, which are intertwined with the universal vibration. According to the Hermetic law, which states that, as it is above, it is below, as it is inside, it is outside. Your inner world influences your outer world. If you have thoughts of fear, doubt, or scarcity, you are tuning into a frequency that attracts those same energies to your life. But if you cultivate thoughts of abundance, gratitude, and confidence, you will begin to see how the universe responds accordingly, reflecting those vibrations in a tangible way. This is precisely what the spiritual masters taught throughout the centuries, that to change the world, we must first transform our mind. Meditation, conscious thought, and positive affirmations are tools that allow us to harmonize with universal laws, like the waves of a radio that we tune to capture a high-quality station. The key is to recognize that you like the universe, are vibration. And when you understand this, you will begin to see how the mind not only reflects reality, but creates it. As we explore more in depth, it is essential to understand how we can apply this powerful truth that the universe is mental in our daily life. How can we use our mind, which is deeply connected to universal consciousness, to transform our reality? The answer is to understand the fundamental principles that govern this connection. And the first of these keys is the law of vibration. Every thought, every emotion, and every action we take generates a vibrational frequency. This frequency is not something abstract or intangible, but has a direct and real impact on our environment. If our internal vibrations are aligned with thoughts of abundance, peace, and love, that same vibration is projected outwards, attracting more of those same energies to our lives. In this way, our mind not only reflects what we see, but also acts as a magnet for what we experience. Let's take a simple example. Imagine that you constantly feel fear or concern. This emotional state generates a frequency of scarcity or lack, which can bring situations that reinforce those sensations. But if, on the contrary, you cultivate a positive mental state full of confidence and gratitude, you begin to attract opportunities that help you prosper. The vibration, then, is not something that is out of your control. It is something you can master. The internal work you do every day, from meditating to changing your thoughts and emotions, has the power to adjust your vibrational frequency. This adjustment is not only metaphysical, but practical. If you focus on high and positive thoughts, you can tune your mind to the highest desires and goals. One of the most fascinating aspects of this teaching is the power of intention. Intention is the conscious act of aligning our thoughts and emotions with a clear purpose. If you establish a clear and strong intention with the energy of your mind, that intention becomes a seed that begins to germinate in physical reality. The key is to maintain constant visualization, focusing on what you want to achieve and believing that it is possible. Think of this concept as an artist creating a masterpiece. The artist, before starting, has a vision of what he wants to create in his mind. Through each stroke, each detail he adds, he transforms that mental vision into a material reality. Your mind works in the same way. What you see and feel inside you begins to materialize in your outside world. By understanding that your thoughts and emotions are energy projected towards the universe, you can begin to take conscious control of what you experience. If you want prosperity, for example, start by filling your mind with thoughts of abundance and gratitude. If you want peace, focus on inner calm and serenity. Everything you need is inside you, waiting to be activated by your mind. However, thought and intention alone are not enough. For this powerful law of vibration to have its maximum expression, it is crucial to take action. The opportunities that arise in life are not always presented in the way we expect. Sometimes, the answers and opportunities are found in the steps we take with confidence, in the daily action aligned with our elevated thoughts. This process becomes a cosmic dance in which the mind and action come together to create the reality you want to experience. You cannot expect everything to happen just by wanting it. The universe responds when you align yourself with its principles and move towards your goals with faith and determination. With all this, we can conclude that the universe not only responds to what we think, but also to what we feel and do. The mind is the spark, the action is the fuel that lights the fire. Now that we have understood how the universal law of the mind connects us with the creation of our reality, it is essential to apply these principles in a practical way in our daily life. The true magic of understanding that the universe is mental lies in how we can use this understanding to transform our personal, professional, and spiritual experience. Next, we will explore some concrete ways to use these teachings to achieve tangible results. 1. Creative visualization. Visualization is a powerful tool that allows you to connect the conscious mind with the universal mind. By visualizing what you want, you are sending a signal to the universe about what you want to attract. This process not only involves imagining in detail what you want, but also feeling the emotions associated with that visualization as if it were already a reality. Imagine that you want to achieve success in your career. If you visualize your goal clearly, focusing on the feeling of achievement and gratitude, the universe will begin to align to make that vision come true. But visualization is not just a mental action. It must be followed by a conscious action that brings you closer to that goal. Every time you visualize something you want, do it with intensity and conviction. This not only prepares your mind to receive, but also reinforces the vibration of your desires. 2. Positive statements. Positive statements are powerful statements that you can use to reprogram your mind and attract what you want. If you believe that your thoughts create your reality, then by changing your internal dialogue, you can change your destiny. For example, if you want to attract abundance, you can repeat statements like, "I am open to receiving abundance in all possible ways." This constant practice creates new neuronal connections in your brain, focusing on what you want and moving away from limiting thoughts. Statements not only reinforce the subconscious mind, but also act as a positive energy magnet that attracts situations, people, and opportunities aligned with your intentions. 3. The power of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations you can maintain. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, you are sending the signal to the universe that you feel abundant and satisfied. This positive energy has the power to multiply your blessings. Practicing gratitude daily is an effective way to elevate your vibration. You can start every morning or before going to sleep simply by saying, "Thank you for the small and great things in your life." This habit not only improves your emotional well-being, but also connects you with the natural flow of universal abundance. 4. The law of attraction in action. As we mentioned earlier, thought and intention alone are not enough. Action is key. Without moving towards your goals, the universe has no clear way of acting in your favor. It is as if you put a seed in the ground, but do not water it. It is important to make decisions and take practical steps that are aligned with your goals and values. If your desire is to create a prosperous life, then you must be willing to learn, to invest time and effort, and to stay focused. Remember that opportunities do not always come the way we expect, but if you take action with faith and determination, the universe will begin to open roads. 5. Establish clear and specific intentions. One of the most common mistakes is not being clear enough about what we really want. Specific intentions are more powerful because they indicate to the universe exactly what you want. If you only say, "I want to be rich," the universe does not know what that means to you. But if you say, "I want to generate a specific amount of money in the next 6 months through my business," this clarity activates the universal laws to manifest your desire. Establishing clear intentions gives you a north and a focus, and allows you to make more aligned decisions with what you really want to create. In addition, it is important to be flexible. Sometimes the universe has even better plans than you can imagine. By applying these principles in our daily life, we begin to live according to universal wisdom. What you think, feel, and do has a direct impact on your life. You are not a victim of fate, but a conscious co-creator of your reality. The mind is powerful, and with the understanding that the universe is mental, you can begin to transform your inner world to be reflected on the outside. This knowledge not only gives you the power to create what you want, but also to live with greater peace, gratitude, and harmony. Ultimately, the deepest change begins from within. Are you ready to apply this wisdom and transform your life? At the end of this journey of revelations about the connection between our mind and the universe, it is essential to reflect on what we have discovered. If you have come this far, you have taken the first step towards a deeper understanding of the reality that surrounds you. The truth is that the mind controls everything. Since ancient times, mystics, philosophers, and visionaries knew that reality is not a fixed fact, but a manifestation of human thought, of the vibration of our beliefs, emotions, and convictions. Your mind is the architect, and reality is his work. Remember that you are not a victim of fate or chance. You are the creator of your experience, the one who holds the brush in this vast masterpiece of the universe. By understanding and applying these metaphysical secrets, you can radically transform your life, since there is no external force that limits you beyond the barriers that you yourself have accepted. You have the power to rewrite your existence and manifest the reality you want. But this path does not end here. Now that you know the truth about the mind and how it can shape your life, the next step is to put it into practice. It is not enough to understand it intellectually. The true magic begins when you take action. You can start today to transform your subconscious, change your limiting beliefs, and begin to visualize the future you want. If this information has touched your soul and you feel the need to continue delving into these topics, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Like it if this video has helped you to open your eyes to new possibilities, and share it with those who also need to awaken their own power. We are in a crucial moment, and together we can be the agents of a profound and lasting change in the world. Remember, the universe is talking to you. Synchronicity has guided you here. Now, are you ready to take total control of your reality? Act now, because the mind controls everything.